So we had a record-breaking season. The season is normally split between the July season, which is when we catch the giant tuna. So that was when the 350 kilogram tuna was caught. That's normally the first couple of weeks of July, and that's when we see this mass migration of tunas just going from the Mediterranean, where they've just spread over to the Atlantic. And that's the big tunas. Then there's normally a break until the August season, and that's normally 2 weeks of fishing in August. But this year, the tunas moved in, the smaller tunas moved in slightly later. And then with the OS 35 incident and the no fishing days, it ended up extending all the way to October. But overall, the season's been great for us. There's been an incredible number of fish out there, and we've broken some records this year, which is really impressive.
So we talked about some really big catches, and one in particular was very interesting because it was a tag and release from a few years ago. What does that tell us about the fact that it returned to Gibraltar waters the size that it eventually was?
But it's amazing because you sometimes think, how do these fish know to be in the same place at the same time of year every single year? And this fish itself, the one that we're speaking about, was caught in 2020 by Nicky Balvang and his team fishing. They tagged it, and then this year, 2 years later, we've re-caught it, almost a week's difference in terms of dates. So they caught it, I think it was the 9th of September, and it was re-caught this year on the 16th of September. In those 2 short years, it had grown by about 40 centimeters and had put on approximately 40 kilograms of weight. So it's just amazing to see these tunas come back every single year. They basically treat Gibraltar as home for the months of July, August, September and October. And it's just great to see that they're here every year.
So obviously there's no commercial quota for Gibraltar. So what happens to this tuna? I mean, you catch quite a few big ones yourself. What do you do with them?
Well, the first tuna that I catch is almost always given to friends and family. My phone just lights up with messages. The moment I put that story on Instagram, it's just like a barrage of messages. But if we're talking about the tuna that's caught here, we don't have a commercial fishing fleet here. So no one here is making the millions of pounds that you see on these shows that people are making in selling tuna to Japan. Everything here is local. In fact, we catch quite a few tuna in the season, and we always operate at a loss. And that's normal because it's a hobby, and we enjoy what we're doing. When you put in the cost of the tackle, the fuel, and everything, it's always operating at a loss. But it's not commercial fishing, the sorts of which you'd see in these shows that are that glorify fishing and selling these tunas to Japan. Everything is always kept local over here.
Just tell us very quickly about these incredible beasts. I mean, they swim at huge, fast speeds. They can grow to really big sizes. Just tell us a little bit about them. And of course, you've got an Instagram account that has got some magnificent pictures on them as well.
Yeah, so they're really I think they're the powerhouses of the ocean. So it's just basically a fish which is muscle. They've been around for thousands of years. So I think there's some evidence that even the Phoenicians and the Romans were fishing them here in Gibraltar, this area. And there's even some scientific studies that say that, or historians that say that Neanderthals were catching them back in the day when they used to beach themselves in the Gibraltar beaches. But the fish that are basically the powerhouses of the ocean, they're extremely powerful. They grow very, very quickly as well. So we're talking about fish that can weigh between 20 kilos 1 year, then 40 kilos the next year, then 60, and they just go increasing that way. And there's even figures that say that they eat up to 1/3 of their body weight every single day in a juvenile stage. So they're just amazing creatures.